Hello, everyone. So here is Moonlight Soul and Marisa from Growing the Flow, and we are going to be presenting you the energies for November. And this is Stars and Cards, episode 31. Hello, Marisa. Nice to have you back.
Hello, nice to be here. Yeah, believe it or not, it's time for us to dip into the next month to November and Scorpio season and all the things that are coming up for us to dig deep into here.
For sure, and we have quite a ride right off the start in Scorpio season, and well, I mean in November because we are starting with the new moon in Scorpio right on November 1st. So we're going to talk a little bit about it, but of course we want to focus on the energy of the entire month. And then if people did catch us on IG Live or revisited the recording on your YouTube channel on Growing the Flow, then you might be aware that we now hopping on to Instagram and potentially we'll be hopping on more frequently than just once a month to talk about whatever strikes our fancy. And if you also have some ideas, what do you want us to talk about, then definitely let us know.
Yes, yay, that was so fun. And yeah, we're definitely going to be doing that. So it's kind of nice that we're here. We're going to sort of set the stage for what's coming up energetically for November, but then we'll be able to dip back in and kind of look back and see, what all comes forward here today. So we have our spread of decks that we've chosen. And because we love the Queen of the Moon so much, even though we're not just tuning in for a lunation, we thought it would be good to sort of, tap into that energy for maybe just to see what comes forward, helping to feed, all of the energies, and then we'll move into our tarot spread and a little oracle message on the end. So
Let's
do we
do
want to
that.
start with the Queen of the Moon?
Yeah, I think so, as we have the new moon in Scorpio right on the 1st.
Yes. Right up, right out the gate. It's such a
Keeps you busy.
powerful, yeah, little too busy, but all that, yeah. Let me just scoot things
And
out.
I believe it's exactly the same next month for the Sagittarius new moon. It's
Is
right
it
at the
the
big.
first?
Is that the 30? I think it's the first for
It's
most
got
people.
to be because there's three moons,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah. So it must be the first. Yeah, let me just quickly double check that. Yeah, 1st of December, 15th of December, 31st of December. Yeah. Yeah, 3 moons next month. So we'll be very blessed.
Yeah, so safe to say, as we picked up on for October, that there was going to be a lot that was coming up, that we were going to really be setting this foundation for these energies, launching us into 2025. So we're here. It's time that we're really going to be seeing that, I think, coming up to the surface and sort of the spiritual breadcrumbs kind of giving us an indication to some of those themes. And so we see that it's busy. We see that time is still moving, at this dizzying speed at times, that we're navigating. So I think it's helpful, to kind of utilize these tools to dip in and try to, see what we may expect in terms of what's coming up with the energies, but then meeting that with our free will. It's not a forecast to say like, oh, Scorpio season or all these things that are going to be happening, because we have an opportunity to utilize that and to really tap into it and step forward empowered. That's, why we're here. So, let's start with our good old Queen of the Moon.
That's
See
it.
what's coming up.
And I mean, everything coming up in Scorpio season has to come up, obviously, because this is the time of digging deep.
Yes. Introspection and definitely digging up. And that's the thing I've been saying is like, instead of leveling up, I've been saying layer up, because it's like one layer and then there's another layer. So it's kind of a reverse, like it's coming up from the bottom versus like, oh, let's get up there. We're leveling up while we're layering up. All those layers are coming up and peeling back. So let's see. Moon. Ah, we can't get away from that six energy.
Oh, that's nice.
Self-love. We don't want to get away from that six energy. It's lovely. It's bringing in harmony and balance and opportunity for leveling and layering up on relationships, which start with self. So there is that beautiful self-love energy coming in with the vibration of that number six, which, just continues to bring this opportunity for greater harmonizing. And some other buzzwords were coming in this week on the Sharecast, synergy and synthesizing, like the way that we're bringing together uniquely from all of these different relationships and dynamics and aspects of ourself that are being revealed to us, that we can bring together in a harmonious way and in a synergistic way, so that it's like bringing together all the parts to create something greater, you know? And so we're continually brought back to self-love, to the mirror, the reflection that we receive from the outside that is providing this opportunity now in November for us to go inside and really bring in that, through that frequency of love. And yeah, it's beautiful with her flowers in her hair. So just sort of, again, what's coming into blossoming now from what's fertilizing that, you know, what has turned over and has created the fertile ground for us to blossom and bloom more deeply into self-love, and an opportunity for us to really spend some time in that. You know, it's easy to say, oh, self-love, self-care, you know, all those glossing over, but this is more deep. This is a deeper sense of self and really rooting in, so that we can then branch out into it through that lens.
Yeah, and like the thing that came to me straight away was the Taurus, because self-love, Taurus, you know, like even though like nurture, you could say that Cancer. And yeah, this is the Scorpio Taurus axis, because we have a Scorpio season, so Taurus automatically gets triggered. So if we externalize too much of our needs onto some, I'll project our needs, or if we don't know what our needs are, then the other serves as a mirror to bring us back to ourselves, to be able to seek that sense of self-worth, seek the sense of reconnection with oneself, so we know that we can have our needs met, we deserve to have our needs met, and also that we can create whatever we need in order for our needs to be met. So anyway, so it's technically all about this Taurus Scorpio axis, which is about me, my relationship to myself, my sense of self-worth and self-love, and also my trust in myself or lack of, and this self-reliance, self-sufficiency, that ability to survive, and me externalize it outside there, consciously or subconsciously. So then I can realize what it is that I don't know, that I don't see, or that I don't find in myself. So it's this continuous back and forth, this pendulum, just like it was in the Libra season, you know, we going from the self-discovery to the other, and now we go into the next layer, because Taurus is about the earth, so it's very feminine energy. It's about the survival, and Scorpio is the water, so it moves the emotion. So this is a great time for healing, and I believe Venus will be square in Saturn during this Scorpio new moon. But I remember that there was this beautiful mystic rectangle in the sky for this lunation. So everything that's going on is divinely orchestrated, and it is supported, because this healing has to take place in order for us to move forward, because we cannot keep carrying this wound of the past, which is connected to Taurus, because how many people really love themselves, how many people really feel that they can have everything they want and they deserve their abundance and stuff, like I mean, not many as far as I know, because otherwise the world wouldn't be in the state it is. So in the Scorpio season, this is all going to come up. You know, it's going to be this back and forth to help us understand this Taurus archetype better.
Mm. Yeah, and as you say, like the Taurus is the earth and the Scorpio is the water, and earth and water make mud. You know, it makes
Creation.
the muck. When we mix it up, you know, it's making up this muck that we have to really dig into. But it's like in this way that we can flip the script, or flip the perspective on when we are seeking outside of ourselves for these things, and then perhaps we didn't find them, right? So then when you don't find them, then we see that as a rejection, or something that, you know, didn't materialize. And I was just getting earlier today, like feeling into that sense of rejection is actually redirection, you know, the redirection, which puts you back here, you know, like you're back inside it, because you know, it's actually this beautiful way, this flow of I'm going to come out here. I'm going to feel that I have a particular need or something that I'm seeking. I'm going to seek it outside myself. And then that which is outside of me is going to reflect back to me just the reflection that is needed for my redirection, so it may or may not meet my needs. It may or may not be what I expected it to be. But ultimately, an opportunity for us to, as we're sifting through the mud, be able to see how all of those things were actually exactly what were needed in order for us to really go back in and nurture and cultivate that sense of self so that when we do step back out there, we're coming with um, that full sense of all those pieces are now put together in a way that's much more sustainable. We come back to this whole, that which can no longer stand, that we see all these pieces coming apart, and that feels very uncomfortable. It feels very untethered. We don't know which end is up because it's unfamiliar, uncharted territory. But actually, again, if we can pause to go within and kind of sift through all of that, we're going to find in there all the pieces. It's funny, I'll just say too, because the synergy came up because we were using the Halloween Oracle and we got this card for barmbrek, this sweet bread that traditionally was made where they would intentionally bake into the bread objects, random objects that when you come across them, they meant different things. They had a meaning to them. But it could be like, you're cutting into the bread and you're hoping you get the piece that has the ring in it versus the piece or the cloth or whatever it is. And it's like, it's all in there. It's all baked in. And whatever comes up, it's sort of like a challenge that we have to see what ourselves can do with that and what we can make out of that. So we're sort of coming back in to sift through all of that and create again from that place. And that's where I see the flowers kind of blooming and coming into fullness through the openings that have come in from those experiences.
Yeah, and then the other aspect of Taurus is the foundation. So what you were saying that then it something that can no longer stand because it's not stable, it's not built on a stable ground, and it's also on the number 6, which is the number associated with Venus, but it's also the harmony and balance, right? So we always try to strive for the balance because it's not really about one or the other extreme. It's about trying to find the balance, but if one is in the extreme, then it will usually flip to the other extreme in order to try to neutralize the energy. So anyway, so bottom line is that there will be a lot of this showing up in Scorpio season.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. It's messy, it's muddy, it can be murky, but that's where those beautiful blooms come from. Thinking about the lotus, right? No mud, no lotus. So all right, so the Queen of the Moon set the stage, bringing us back to self. Okay, inward we go. So we'll see what the psychic tarot, this time round, brings up for us. And so with this format, we're kind of intending that our 3 cards represent the beginning, middle, and end of the month, but we know that there's always a story there. So they all work together throughout the month, but just kind of holding those intentions in one place. We'll pull our first card. Beginning.
Oh, that's interesting.
There we go. Okay, so we start at the end, that is also the beginning, right? The world.
Which is the new moon, which is the new moon, and new moon is the end and beginning.
Yeah, so that brings in the world. So major significant energy there, kicking off the month with the power of 21, the energy of the world, the universe, and the cosmos too. This particular version really gives me those cosmos vibes. Okay, and so middle of the month.
Oh wow. That's a Taurus full moon.
Yeah, and that's the 17th, right? Is it the 17th? This is card 16, right?
16, right, yeah.
Yeah. So just around that time.
Oh, Taurus full moon is on the 15th.
15. Okay. So this was in the middle. Okay.
Yeah, it's right in the middle, right?
Okay, so a little disruption in the form of
Taurus.
Taurus, once again, star of the show coming in on Scorpio's parade. And the end of the month. It's coming up there.
Wow, is it another major? No.
Oh my gosh, we were just talking about this one too, though. Two of Wands, right? Yeah. Or Two of Pentacles, I'm sorry. We were talking
Of
about the Wands.
Pentacles.
Movement, choices, and decisions. Yeah.
Hmm.
A little bit of juggling, a little bit of influx, a little bit of menu of options being presented, huh? Hmm. Okay.
Well, that will be right before the Sagittarius new moon. So we'll be choosing the new story.
Yeah. Yeah, that card always gives me those vibes too. Is that like menu board? Wow. So 21, 16, 2, right? Yeah. So this card actually came up for the full moon in Aries along with the Fool. And so both of those cards were sort of serving to say it starts with you, it ends with you, right? So, it's more of the same as we're back to self and we're starring in the center. The star of the show, center stage is your universe as it is,
Mhm.
depicted here. But it really is showing how everything has come together to align for exactly what is needed. It's all, but there again, it feels like the pieces. It's all baked in. It's all in there, but there is this sense of self-discovery that needs to take place and definitely like a dismantling of things in order to put things back together in a way that we then move toward the new and what's coming in next. And it is going to require this juggling of both the material and the spiritual aspects, in order to bring it together for the next leg of the journey, for sure.
Let me just check something because I have a feeling that middle November is actually where Saturn stations direct. I know it's around that time, but I don't remember the exact date. Let me see. Saturn station direct. Yes, 15th of November. Exactly.
That's so funny because these are the dates that yeah, like 15, 16, 17. So
Yeah, yeah,
middle of the
Saturn.
month is the meat, and we have the sandwich here. So
So Saturn will be direct for this full moon. So it's very interesting, and why it came to me is because my understanding of the world card is Saturn. It's like the maturation, the completion, the self mastery of the tarot. That fool's journey, the human's journey. That we've gone to master something, to get to the next level of our evolution, whatever. So it feels to me that with the Scorpio new moon, we are seeding this new empowered future human, but in order to become someone new, we need to face that which is preventing us from feeling that way, which is all this stuff from the past, which is this disconnection from oneself, the Taurus, that we were disconnected from the spirit and we forgot, and then we were being made to believe you need all these things outside of yourself to survive because you don't have it inside of you, so you need the middleman and stuff like that. So we continuously through thousands and thousands of years gave our power away because we just wanted this game to be more excited. But now we know this cycle is ending. Pluto is just about to move into the sign of Aquarius for the final time, and that will be on November 19th. So after the full moon in Taurus. So this is telling its own story, that this is all about healing the human wounding of disconnecting from the human embodiment, because we were being made feel ashamed, guilty, not good enough, don't deserve, blah, blah, blah. All these stories that came from all these religion, philosophies, any of these is saying that, well, you need to do something to deserve. We always need to do something to deserve. We never just good enough for who we are, right? And this is all ending now because we need to transcend this illusion, this illusion, because otherwise we just keep chasing our tails and keep reincarnating over and over and over again to try to neutralize this energy and remember who we really are. So that's why I feel that with this whatever, like, because obviously new moon is a seeding, it's like we don't know, the moon is dark, we just seeding something over here, right? But I did check, and Venus is square in Saturn. I believe Mercury also. Venus Mercury conjunction square in Saturn, which is profound because obviously this is the closing square from Sagittarius to Pisces. Saturn at the time of the Scorpio new moon is still retrograde. So it's saying that these are the things that we need to free ourselves from and release so the old can end, this world, this culmination of the Piscean age and everything that came before. And if it doesn't, if it don't, then there is a Tower moment. And I know that we already mentioned Tower moment. Was it the last Stars and Cards on here or on Instagram? I know it was very recently. I don't know if it was on IG Live or here, but we mentioned it. Well, if we don't, because it was because of the devil card, and then we said, then there is always a tower, so you get pushed.
Yes, I think it was on the live because we were saying like, or you could leap and take the leap and be the orchestrator of your own, and this is kind of what I was feeling when I was first saying that like this is just sort of tapping into the energy of what's available, what's coming up, but then we decide how we're going to bring it into form. I thought it was interesting what you said about being disconnected from the body, and this particular world card is just a head that looks very like cosmic and very, it reminds me of like mirror, mirror on the wall, and then the face appears, and it's very like, yeah, where's the body? And also traditionally, along with the Saturn energy, of course, the world, it features the four fixed signs in either corner of the card, which again, we don't see here, but there is this sense of like things that had been they were permanent fixtures of our world. They're not here. They're not showing up in this card because there is this need that things are becoming so much more just sort of in flux and fluid and sort of, intangible, so that we can piece it all back together in a new way though. So we really have to be taken far out of the comfort zone of just reaching for the same familiar pieces. I'm getting a little Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, that fairy tale where it's like all the king's horses and all the king's men, they're trying to put him back together again. And they couldn't, because it can't be put back just the way it was. And yeah, there was things you were saying there that was like this headless or bodiless head that we see here. But it is necessary. It has to be brought into the body, and these deep roots, new roots are being established. So there's a rerouting going on. And so it's actually really neat because it takes us to the end of the cycle, right? It's all done. We're all finished with that fixed way of being. And now it's just sort of formless and open. And even here, it's like, yes, this is capturing, I feel like it's the way it feels. It's not necessary. It could be actual things are happening in your orbit in that moment that resemble a tower falling, but at the same time, it's like, I feel disjointed. I feel like I'm having an out of body experience because I am like I'm rebuilding my body and what again, this story. So it literally takes us through that process of moving through the muck of that process. But ultimately, at the end of the month, we see here this opportunity then to have a clearer picture. It's almost like all those are windows that were all, mucked over that we couldn't see clearly through the window. And now there's some clarity there that we can actually see some of the options that are available and maybe approach them with more clarity, discernment about how we want to put them all back together again.
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly in line with the Pluto being back in the sign of Aquarius by then. And actually, I always find it very interesting about these cards that the rim is red, because to me that was like a fire. So I was like, how is this pentacle? It's
That's
supposed
why I
to
said wands, even though I know that, yeah.
yeah. And by then we of course will be in Sagittarius season. So, so we'll be already like getting out of the Scorpio muddy waters, like, oh my God, finally on the other end of it. And now it will be these two of pentacles, trying to juggle, like, okay, what did just hit me, and where am I going from here? Like, how can I ground this experience and, not lose the sight of the horizon or something. And at the same time, try to start creating this different story, the different version of myself. And, the other interesting factor is that, the tower, because it is happening on like we talking about the middle of the month and the full moon in Taurus. It's happening exactly at the middle of the month, and that is the illumination. So it's like, oh yeah, we need to, like, all this first card, the Queen of the Moon. This is all about, like, learning about who you really are, reconnecting with yourself, allowing the spirit to be present, all the rest of it. And we know that that was, like, technically not available to us for tens of thousands of years since Atlantis and Lemuria, right? So it's like, okay, well, we need to reestablish, like you said, these new roots, the new foundation. We need to create this stronger foundation. And we know we can't do it without fully being embodied, because people, and we know that a lot of us, even myself included, try to bypass, and just like, oh yeah, I just want to be up there with the fairies, channel all day long and stuff. And we know that it's not possible, because all of that is coming through this. So if we're not grounded, if we're not in this body, right, and if we don't even have any appreciation for this body, that we cannot bring it through, because it needs to come through something, which is the human body. So it's like catching our tail, thinking that I want to go up there, but you cannot go any higher until you get it right down here, which is not even about up and down. So I'm really curious, I'm saying this with caution, about this full moon in Taurus, with Saturn direct and Pluto just about to go back into the sign of Aquarius 4 days later, and the Tower card. So, and that's obviously only less than a week, right, before we enter Sagittarius season. So it will be interesting to observe.
Yeah, it's definitely it's significant energy, and that's what the major arcana, these black borders, tell us is, hey, pay attention, because this is a significant stop on the fool's journey, and it is about these pivotal moments. And so, yeah, those things all aligning, and it's like the layers, like I said, layering up. We always talk about this version of that card because it's so interesting the way that it has these sections that are literally just like cutting through, but and also gives me the Jenga analogy of the tower. We reach in and we just want to strategically remove a piece because that's not working anymore, but we don't want to disrupt all the other stuff. And this card is disruption, so it's like, in order for us to move all of that around, there has to be a disruption to the norm, the quote unquote norm, or the disruption to what is familiar. This is what we were saying on the live. It doesn't have to be unpleasant. It doesn't have to be shocking in a way that is painful. Surely it can, yes. Anytime that something sudden happens that shakes us up, can be certainly ungrounding, unsettling, but also it can be big things that come in a way that actually create beautiful openings and space and opportunities in places that we never even dreamed. We didn't realize, because we were limited by, all this density that's been bogging us down, that this is feeling like an opportunity now with fresh eyes to take a look from everything that we harvested through Libra season, eclipse season, all the things that we've been gathering to determine what we want to build with from here. It reminds me of the game Operation as well. The game that's guy's body, and you have to like go in there and try to strategically extract the stuff without. And it's funny, I'm seeing all these parts because the bread had like these random things in it, and so does that game. It's like, what the hell am I going to do with all these pieces? But it's like, again, it's like we have this new opportunity to see how things work together in ways that we just never dreamed possible before. That there's anything's on the table, everything's up for availability. So if we can free ourselves of this perception of it just having to stay in this very predictable, very familiar, very comfortable, possibly miserable way that we've been operating, that actually this illumination can then come in and really be integrated. That light can be integrated so that we can make those choices from that informed place. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot, but it feels like, it's just another step in this big game of Operation Operation Humanity 2.0.
I just got like so many downloads. I don't think I can even repeat them all. But what I started, I'm trying to like focus on everything that came through. So, like with, because first of all, like you said, it doesn't have to be painful, because we straight away tower, but what straight away spirit was giving me is number 7. It's number 7 7. It's number 7, which of course is the Neptune,
Mm,
healing,
mm,
culmination, closing of the cycles. And then we know the number 7 is actually Chariot, which is the Cancer, it's this taking care of yourself, self-care, also the sense of identity. We know Mars and Pluto will be in opposition forever now until like May or something, with like 1 month off or something. So it's all about balancing this, going into future, becoming future human, but being attached to these all identities and all we know. So what I feel is that this tower, it's like, like the spirit is just chipping, like when you are like breaking something from the cast, like you chip in layers and layers and layers to help us remember who we really are. And then you brought up the word dreaming, of course, again, Neptune, but I think it's a good time to share Erin's lion video you shared with me about your soul is dreaming. So this is again, the spirit is trying to wake us up, like, hey, you've dreamed this reality, you co-created this reality, you can create a different one. So this tower has so many layers because it is not just about disruption, but as we know, energy has to manifest. So it's up to us and our, level of consciousness, level of awareness, and our willingness, because we have a free will, how it's going to manifest. So this like tower falling down literally as a building in front of you, this is the last option, because
mm,
we know in any field, the physical manifestation is the last stage on any disease. The physical manifestation of the disease is the last stage, right? So we know that before there are layers and layers and layers of how this imbalance sets in, on a mental, spiritual, emotional level. So this tower only has to physically come down if it doesn't try to be balanced on any other level. So we don't have to do, that disruption doesn't have to be so literally. It literally can be, because we are in a Scorpio season, that there are, and we know it from the first hand, there is so much emotional, emotional stuff coming up that we feel like, like just literally like in a washing machine being thrown around, like in a bloody
mm.
spin or something, and then it's like, okay, are you going to work with this energy, with this emotion, with this whatever it is, or are you going to wait for the tower to come down? Like which one is it? So it is so profound, because it literally, on a first sight, people would go like, oh my God, how is this a good news? But with the full moon in Taurus, it's just illuminating to you like how this more and more layers of the uh, cage that we voluntarily put ourselves into and we forgot, and even though the door of the cage is open, but this armor, that and this cast and this mask and this costume, you can always take it off, but this is not what we know. This is not what we know. And that's why it's also interesting that by the time that we have the end of the month, Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius. I was just saying you that while Jupiter is retrograde in Gemini, it's a mutual reception. So we are reevaluating what we see, what we perceive, and the stories that are made up from it. And it's all going inwards, it's all going backwards. And it's saying, is this really true? Is this really what I'm seeing? What is it? What is this reality? Is this actually real, or is this the dream? What is it? So I think some big questions will be asked by the end of the month because of everything else that will transpire throughout November.
Yeah. And it feels like the questions are being asked, but it feels like we really might have some clarity. We really might have some understanding. Because what I was seeing when you were describing like the chipping away at it is that this tower, it's almost as if this tower has been blocking this view. Like,
That's
like when somebody comes along and it's like they're going to build somewhere and they have to take down some old structure or something, and all of a sudden on the other side of it, you're like, I had no idea that this beautiful view was here. Like, who knew? It was just this eyesore of this old building, that's
yeah.
always been here or whatever. Um, that I feel like this just feels so much, it feels illuminated, and it's multi-layer because you can see all the colors, and of course as you go deeper into this card there's little things on every bit, whether they're gold rings or a flower or whatever coins, it's all the stuff that's baked in. It's all the stuff that makes up, the wholeness of the experience that we have here. And we got this, I mean, if he's not wearing a straight jacket, he looks like he is, but there is this sense of, like you say, by the way, you can take that off. Like you're really not like zipped in there. And we forget because those old masks, those old costumes, those old just ways of being are so set. It's been a part of the landscape for so long that the idea of not having it there anymore in itself there's an initial sense of like clinging to that. But this is where and why we tap in now is to say, hey, you have a choice. And that's what the two says. It's movement, choices, and decisions is you choose because you get to decide how you view the chipping away and what all that entails is as far as, how you perceive that experience and what you do with what remains from it, and how you build from there. So it's really providing a lot of opportunity. Again, it's not to gloss over the idea that the process of being chipped away, or when you're sticking those little tweezers in there and you get zapped because you didn't, that's again, it's as you were saying about the Aaron Lyons reference about this quantum field and these dream, like remembering. Spirit is always trying to remind us that this is a dream. This is your making, you're creating this. And it's like that moment when you're dreaming in your sleep and something's happening in the dream, you're running from something, there's something going on very intense, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm just dreaming. Oh, okay, it's all right. Like
I can
nothing too
relax.
terrible can happen, and if you can kind of take over the reins at that point, then you can actually have some fun with it. You're really in this position, and as you mentioned, the chariot energy of like in the driver's seat. So it's like you moved back over into the driver's seat because we've been kind of coasting along. We've just been kind of going through the motions on this familiar path. I remember like when I used to work outside of my house and had this ridiculous drive and traffic and stuff. And there'd be days where I was driving along and all of a sudden I was like, did I miss my exit? Like I must have zoned out.
Mm.
I'm just going through the motions driving. And then I'm like, wait, whoa, I don't remember getting here. And you have this like moment of panic and you're like, oh, okay, no, I didn't get there yet. And it's like, it's just this sense of like, yes, there's this checking out, numbing out, dissociation that has occurred for so many of us. And we find ourselves in these states and spirit comes along to first it's a little tap tap, then it's a little and then yeah, there could be a wrecking ball. So again, it's like you can't miss it. You're not going to miss it because one way or another you're coming to. It's just a matter of how you wish to go. So an opportunity here for us at the center now to decide this next act and the way in which we want to take that next adventure.
It was funny about the driving asleep behind the wheel. I'm sure
Yeah.
many of us heard that asleep behind the wheel. But yeah, I think we should definitely put the link into the notes, for that video because
Yes.
I think everybody should watch that video. Not, well, obviously
Yes.
not shouldn't. Obviously you do what you discern is the best thing for you. But that video, it speaks to the soul for sure.
Yeah.
Because it really is a choice. Do I want to keep weaving and dreaming my own dream, the dream I want to experience, or do I want to help to co-create the nightmare that somebody else wish to be manifested, right? And yeah, just like she explains in the video, it is not easy. It is not easy to change the pattern, right? Because we might be asleep, but these beings, they are not. Even though we
Right.
think they are, but they remember the game. They remember the rules of
Yeah.
the game. So yeah, so we need to remember the rules of the game too. So it's like, somebody once said, I used to follow that no, you don't want to break out of matrix, you just need to understand how matrix works and then make it work for you,
Mhm.
like you came here to experience matrix, you didn't come here to break free from it, because we are like like this is the physical incarnation. So, at the moment, this is how we live on this planet. We are plugged into the matrix. So we want to understand the rules of the game of the matrix and then learn to manipulate it to work for you. You want to dream your own dream and experience it, not dream somebody else's nightmare and experience that.
Absolutely. That's really what it's about. It's about remembering, kind of waking up at the wheel and being like, oh, wait, it's me. I'm the driver. I have this choice. It's a choice. And again, not getting too hung up on how far you've been traveling asleep at the wheel, because that's where we can get pulled back into the woulda, coulda, shoulda, the ruminating over everything and this churning it around in a way that then applies the judgment, the criticism, the shame, the blame, and that's just a distraction tactic. That just creates
Mm.
its own nightmare within a nightmare,
Exactly.
and
Like
that's the thing
Inception.
that I think, yes, yes. So it's like we're getting shook awake, and then presented with this beautiful menu of like, oh wow, it actually can be any of these things, like literally anything that I desire, I can create here. And yes, I know there's a whole host of like, oh yeah, well, how am I supposed to do that if I don't have this or that? First of all, we need the pentacles, right? Because that's how we fuel this physical existence at this moment. That's the main source of energy right now. But it's about the idea that, yeah, and that's just it, acknowledging that those material tools that we have available to us are just that. They work for us, So there's this sense of taking back the power in knowing it's you. It was always you. We come full circle back to you, and that's really what the world is about. It's the final card of the major arcana, that it's just an endless cycle of endings and new beginnings on the fool's journey.
Yeah, but we go back to the Taurus. Yes, you don't need pentacles. You need to rewire your Taurus. And in order to actually do that, we kind of have to dismantle everything we think we are and everything we believed about ourselves and reality. It literally is like the bloody tower all needs to crash down. Not literally. I don't mean like the whole world just need to crash down and stuff. The tower of your life that you think it's safe and secure, like we see in a traditional tarot that the crown is being blown off and the two people being falling down from the tower and stuff. Yeah, but after that will be eventually the healing, right? It's the 17, right? The star card. So there we go. So yeah, so I really feel that, and this is literally what the Scorpio season is going to accommodate us with. It's going to take us back to the Taurus. It's going to push us over and over and over again back to ourselves to say, if you want to experience different reality, you have to become someone different. In order to become someone different, we need to heal everything that is creating the reality we are experiencing at the moment and preventing us from experiencing a different reality. And that can never be done from outside. It can only be done from inside because the software is inside. So yeah, so this, I really feel that this is gonna be a Scorpio season to remember. So
Yeah.
whatever comes with that.
Yeah, a Scorpio season to remember. I like that because that's definitely
Maybe that should be our title, right?
I know. I'm like, okay, we can build off of that because, yeah, because what you were just saying about the Taurus and again, it's bringing us into work smarter, not harder. Yes, it is work. Yes, it is. We're here for this physical experience and to move through, again, utilizing all that we have to work with. But we have this opportunity it's like when we upgrade, and we touched on this. We were talking about this somewhere along the lines where we talked about the old wallpaper, the old,
Oh
when
yeah.
we're going to make improvements to, the building, the structure is the best example because we can all relate to when we're going to build something or we're going to upgrade something or improve or repair something, that there's this old whatever was already there that we have to contend with, whatever that means. Sometimes it has good bones, and we have an opportunity to build on it. Other times the wood is rotten, the screws are stripped, and we have to take it down because it's not sustainable. And again, never negates the fact that it served, that it provided in its time, but there's this energy of, things that need to come down at this time. But we can be in the driver's seat and be more strategic in our way, again, like the Jenga piece, in what we are extracting and what we're building from. It doesn't all have to come down. As you say, it's about recognizing the parts that actually never truly represented you to begin with, the things, and it gets into all of that energy of the things that are inherited or the collective energy and all the things that might be hitching a ride when we talk about the stuff of nightmares in our dream, that we're becoming aware. And how do we become aware? Infinite number of ways, and some of them are, yes, unpleasant. Some of the ways that these things come to our attention, like we say about bringing something into balance, harmonizing something, means we have to have a point of reference to know that it's out of balance. And in order to
Mm.
know that it's out of balance, we have to experience what it feels to be in that extreme.
Hmm.
So we've done that. We've checked some of those boxes. We've spent some time in all the extremes, right? And so now we have this opportunity, and it is a choice to endeavor back to the center, taking what we've learned, taking what we've experienced, and building from there. And yeah, it's definitely going to be one that is of great significance because this is the real deal. It's really happening. And it can be exciting. It can also be a little daunting. We're not going to lie, right? We're going to acknowledge it for what it is, and see it there because that in and of itself helps to take some of the fear factor out of it, because sometimes we built it up to be this, oh, this big crumbling that has to happen, and it's all happening in November or whatever, and then we're giving our power to that.
I don't feel that it's going to happen necessarily outside of us, at least not in the first half of the month.
Hmm.
I feel the first half of November, it's going to be very internal. How
Hmm.
that's going to come out, obviously, is questionable, but I think it's more likely the full moon in Taurus that is going to bring some physical manifestation because of the illumination. But I really feel that the first half of November it's going to be more about going inwards, doing the shadow work. I feel very like subtle energy, like very subtle energy and very introspective, not necessarily much of to do with the outside world. It's all about the inner. But I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but this is at least what I feel.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I'm thinking, I mean, there's obviously, like we were saying before, with all of our analogies with the play and the stage and the different things. While we're doing that, obviously there's things going on out there, and
Mm,
there's things that are happening on maybe another stage or another screen that we are impacted by. So
mm.
it's not to say that, we know things are playing out in the beginning of November in different countries of the world, election energy, big
Yep.
stage. But that's just, again, the big mirror that's reflecting back to us. So the real work and the real what's real is what's inside. So I feel like, yes, like that it's not to say that there aren't going to be things happening in the backdrop that are sort of feeding that energy or creating potential for us to dip in and utilize that for this internal work. But yeah, I think for sure I'm definitely feeling a lot of that. As I was saying to you about the hermit energy of,
Mm,
which is coming in for 2025, the year of the hermit with the
mm.
energy of that nine, the introspection, the going within. November also really carrying that energy when I feel into the Scorpio and this energy of the self, and so yeah, I feel that too, starting within.
Yeah, because we said October is the shift month between 2024 and 2025. So November is the 2025. This is the energy of 2025. So, yeah. And, just the last thing on that, what's going on outside of us, this again is a choice. Do I want to continue to feed somebody else's dream and give energy to these things which I cannot control?
Yeah.
These are collective contracts. These are well beyond just you and I. This is our co-creation has also been incarnate on this planet at the moment, and everybody that is not even physical, right? So how much of my energy, and we already spoke about this is all about the choice, and it takes a lot of willpower because it says to your ego, hey, you listen to me. You don't go what you know, you listen to me now, your higher self. Yeah, like it's up to us, and it's not easy, like I know it's not easy for anyone. uh but how much power do I want to keep giving to things that I cannot control? Because I will never feel empowered if I always wait for all these things to work themselves out, and then I'll feel empowered or free or safe or whatever. That will never happen, not in the age of Aquarius, because age of Aquarius is about equality, and individuation is about self-leadership. So for as long as I expect someone out there, someone outside of me to fix it all and to be my savior, or someone that I can blame for everything, that will always just keep this hierarchical system, which is ending.
Yeah.
It will be gone within next 50 to 100 years. It will be gone. It will be gone from this planet, and that is a guarantee. So it's just a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. So how much more do we need to give this the power? So that's
Yeah.
everybody's choice, So yes, you know, this is the
Yeah.
Scorpio, built-in resiliency and self empowerment.
Yeah, because to the extent that I become aware of the role that I play and how I can best contribute to the collective dream
Hmm.
is within my own dream. So there's so much there, and it gets into the whole, when you feed a frequency of a lower vibration, you're opening yourself and your reality, your dream space reality to be impacted by all of that. So again, you choose what you're going to tune into. You choose what you're going to give your energy to. And if you hunker down and focusing on from within and yourself and the dream that you are weaving, then again, that ripples out. Just like if you threw yourself into whatever's happening in the collective dream and you throw into all the frenzy of it, you're contributing that way. Then that's your choice. That's how you're going to invest what you have to contribute from your individual level. So again, it just brings us back to that choice point that the more awareness we have around the power that we really do wield with something that seems like, how can little old me, one person in this whole world, make a difference? And this is, what we're encouraged to, why don't you try and take and see, hey, try it.
Well, that
You
takes you
know?
back to the first card, the Taurus. What do you mean, my little me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Taurus, self-worth,
Yeah.
self-worth, self-love,
Yeah.
like your little me is not any less than anybody else's little me. We are all
Yeah.
equal souls, just we chose to play all these different roles, like whatever movie you watch, it doesn't make one actor like more meaningful or more valuable than another. Oh yeah, we put a label and price ticket on it, but in reality no, because everybody's got a preference. So yeah, so it's the same thing, like nobody is really more valuable. It's just again the stories and identification that we were being indoctrinated with, that we constantly divide. This person is good, that person is bad, that person is worth this money, that person is worth some other money, this person is young, this person is old, this person is, I don't know, tall, short, skinny, fat, you name it. It's always about division, always. And there's the end of it. Yeah, number two, there you go. It's about
Yeah.
partnership, not division.
Yeah. And it's all an illusion.
Exactly,
This
it's
is
all a
just a
dream.
It's like a smoke and mirrors, that is dissipating. And so that's what, when all we wash out all the muck and we sort through and we clear it all out, I really feel that there's a very different view on the other side of it, and hope, and one that feels like some more clarity, some more empowered perceptions where we're able to tap into the potential that really is truly there.
And now I truly understand why I chose the deck that I chose. that I, to-
Yes.
I told you that I think we need to use this deck.
Yeah, and I was thinking that too when we were saying that Dream Talk was coming up. So let's get that out.
And I did not plan it. I'm just like, okay, now I understand. So I think perhaps that clarity we're seeking might be in that deck. I don't know.
Yeah, so we're gonna pull our Oracle card from the Shaman's Dream here. Create a little space. Beautiful deck that we've used once or twice before. Shaman's Dream.
And doesn't it just look like
And
the world at the back?
yeah. Oh, it does. You're
And we
right.
and Wheel of Fortune with the four things, like the
Yes.
four fixed sign, Wheel of
The,
Fortune,
the
and
four corners
yeah,
and the wheel
and the
and you in
world.
the center, just like this one. I mean,
Come
wow.
on.
Stop it.
The spirit doesn't
Oh
make
my
jokes.
gosh. Never gets old.
Never gets old.
Symbols within symbols within symbols. There's always another layer. See, we're layering up.
Always.
I had a flipper there, but I didn't see what it was. Okay, one card, please. These are nice and silky, so they shuffle very fast. Okay, one card for us to cap off our November energies. Oh,
I always like when you have that face on. I'm curious.
my mysterious. Okay, we got straddling worlds, wandering between realms.
Oh, that just tells you, right?
Yes, seven energy with a 52. Yes. Wow, this is a beautiful card. I love the colors.
with the angelic beings. And look at all that crown chakra, all the purple and the white
Yeah.
and the third eye, the throat, like all the upper chakras colors. Oh yeah, perfect. The third eye. Yes,
Third
exactly.
eye, Tanzanite, which is, I know, there's an inner see, I see, and I know here where, and you can see that they're actually straddling. I guess it looks like the moon to me, but then
Mm.
above as well. So that's between these two places. And wow, that is really beautiful.
And also we know that the veil is very thin, and especially November, well, October 31st and November 1st, especially these 2 days.
I was doing a card pull for someone this morning, and I got a card from another deck we love, Sacred Destiny, and it was Simplify or Simplicity,
The other
which just
way.
sorry features. I just wanted to get it where you could see it a little better, but um, a white feather, the single white feather with a blue sky in the background. And it had this really beautiful story about the way that, especially in native cultures, the feather symbolize. I'm looking at all the feathers on all these wings,
The
how they're
angels.
pointing. It actually does have like a headdress on. That the feathers are believed to symbolize, connecting us to spirit. That when we can connect to spirit through the feather, and that spirit connects back to us through the shaft that's in the middle of the feather. So I was just looking at all these feathers, and again, the crown energy of the beautiful symbolism of that, but the key word was simplicity. Like it's simplistic. It doesn't have to be very complicated. And like you say, with the thinning of the veil, there's really an opportunity at this time to tap into that rather simply. I'm just going to spray that beautiful third eye energy. This is the angelic celestial
That's just
color.
so remarkable how it's exactly the same color. I
I
mean, come
know.
on.
I love matchy matchy, and I know you do too.
Oh, you
We're
can't
here
make this
for
up.
it. I want to see what we have coming up in this beautiful card
I
from
had
the.
never seen this card before, so I can't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can already tell it's perfect. Of course. So, being comfortable in two states, wandering between realms, reinvention. When the Straddling Worlds card shows up, it's an invitation to get used to living with one foot in your old world and one foot in the new. There is no going back to the way things once were, and what will be is not yet fully here. You must find the delicate balance that can bring you delight as you relish the past and all your memories, along with awe as you glimpse the astonishing and exciting future. Do not wait for applause. Move on quietly, humbly, invisible to others. This card brings an invitation to begin not only a new chapter, but a new book in your life.
Hmm.
Do not break the news to anyone. Let people be as surprised as you are as you reinvent yourself. Make sure you are not just a slightly improved and more polished version of a dated and obsolete you. Birth yourself into someone original. Do not feel like you have to explain yourself or be understood by anyone. Become a mystery even to yourself. Gaze into the mirror one morning and be pleasantly surprised. Straddling Worlds invites you to become a true wizard, not one who performs magic tricks, but one who has mastered the dance between the visible and the invisible worlds, between the realms of form and formlessness. You are the birther of new ideas, of original and sustainable ways of being in the world.
Wow. Yeah,
Wow.
I think that's the perfect message to close with.
That is just perfect. It's like got a little mic drop going on because it's like looking in the mirror and seeing what's in there and recognizing the power that you have and responsibility that this is all part of it. That all these things that have been dreamed up, we've dreamed up.
Mm.
And it feels like we're, formed and formless. We're in between. We're in this transition and it's not comfortable. Um, but that's a beautiful message. I mean, it really just says it all right there, sums it all up.
Yeah, and like I said, I think if people watch this channeling from Erin Lyon that we spoke about quite a bit in this
Yes,
video,
plug, 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 plug.
they will understand everything on so much deeper level, and also why is it so difficult to break out of it,
Yeah,
because it is not designed to be easy. This is the rules of the game. Um, but yeah, but now is the time when we can do it. We can absolutely do it, and we are doing it. We are doing it. There's no doubt. So that's
yeah,
why the intensity is heating up. That's why everything is happening so quickly. Everything is coming around so fast, and we don't even know. Like, oh my god, I'm being hit from every side, from every angle, from every aspect of my reality, because we are literally on a fast track of like karmic cleansing and releasing. Like it's just going to be done by 2026. We start start experiencing a completely different reality.
yeah. It's like a turbo wash coming in,
Yeah, yeah.
And that can be, yes, it is intense. Yes. And it is a lot, but if we change the way that we see it and we're like, wow, look at all these things that are coming at me, giving me the material to work with. It's giving me options. It's giving me something to create with, even the things that are falling apart are revealing hidden resources and hidden gifts I didn't even know were there that I'm now able to see. And so even though we're in this stage of formlessness, um, it's empowering when we can say, I want to see what all is available to me. So let me seek for that. Let me seek that out so that I can create from this place of of infinite potential, but I also have this endless resources. There is no lack. There is no fear that, yes, but I don't have that anymore, or this isn't this way. And it's like it needed to go so that I can now see hidden resources and abilities that I have to create with now that I'm now getting to have this glimpse at here in this movement, choices and decisions, the things that are coming up here to then take action.
Well, the one thing that I've learned from someone I used to follow, she's all about abundance and manifestation, about the law of attraction. Andrea Schulman, I think was her name. And
Hmm.
one of the things that really stuck with me through all the videos that I watched with her was that if you start like reminding yourself or convince yourself, I don't know what was exactly that, beginning of the sentence, doesn't matter. But if you start understanding, if you just can convince yourself that everything that's happening in your life is happening for me, everything is happening for me, universe loves me, everything is happening for me, and that might create a complete resentment and frustration and even anger, because like, what you mean, of course this is not happy, this is not great, I don't like this, I don't want this, and blah blah blah. But she said, if you can start understanding that everything that you're experiencing in your reality, and we are all experiencing our reality as a co-creators of this dream or a nightmare, depending how you perceive it, everything is happening for us. It's happening for us to help us to awaken to the divinity of who we really are, which is unlimited, unconditional beings having a human experience, so we can co-create a better dream, a different dream, a dream that is a conscious creation, and the result of that will be the experience that we want to experience. So it doesn't all have to be happening, on an autopilot or subconsciously, and then the universe have to intervene, and our higher self with all these other players that we have the contracts with to help us to wake up, to chip that this cast or whatever. So yeah, everything is happening for me, and it's just trying to understand the why. Yeah.
Yeah, and unpack it. Or, letting go of the need to know the answer to all of those questions, because we can find ourselves getting hung up in all of that where um it's about this process that we're going through and keeping our focus on the dream, because that is the focus on, well, what do I want my reality to be? Well, how do I want to feel? What do I want to see? What do I want to experience? And the more energy that I put into that, the more of those resources go into creating that versus churning around all of the details, the who, what, when, where, why of all the things that have come to pass.
Yeah, I actually want to reframe that, because it's about when we understand everything is happening for me, it eventually creates this trust and surrender, and the answers to the why will unreveal themselves organically most of the time, because when we really seek them, we usually don't find them because we are right in the middle of the situation. The answers always come when enough time has passed for us to integrate the lesson.
It's like you were saying before about chasing our tail. It's like we're chasing down an answer that is already within it. It's already baked in there. It's already baked in with the barmbrack. It's in there. There's a P, there's a ring, there's a cloth, there's all it's all in there. You will find out in divine timing, but it's in the process and it's in the experience. And that's, the way we created the game. So, just stepping into that and embracing that if I know that everything is happening for me and that there is a gift inside of everything, then I keep my focus on unraveling, unpackaging whatever it is so that I can mine that gift, I can bring that up and forward, and then it's already known. I don't have to, it's already being handed to me. It's just through my inspired action and through my will, I can reveal the gifts will be revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think we talked this month to death.
We did. We
Actually,
filled it up for a whole month.
Scorpio season is all about death and rebirth. So there we go. So cool. So Marisa, share with everyone what new offerings you have, what's in store for November.
I'm very excited. I'm already working on the empowerment pack is available now for booking for the month of 3 readings where we're going to be tapping into the month ahead energies. I have 2 beautiful sister decks that I've chosen that are very rich and enchanting. There's going to be there's a lot of like Merlin energy, unicorns, like enchanted energies, but going deep, and it's beautiful. So I'm very excited to use these 2 decks together throughout the month. And then the 2 lunations will be tuning in as well with that empowerment pack. So that's my big main feature. But all of those readings are also available a la carte. Of course, I'll have the empowerment sharecast kicking off, which is my free space tucked away from the noise of social media on the Marco Polo app. So I'll be doing these. This is my favorite time of year. There's so many fun decks and things. We do pick a cards and other things. So would love to have people join there. And the cord cutting, the ancestral healing, all those things are amazing to do this time of year. So I have all that available too on my link.
And also give them a sneak peek for the 2025.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's also going on in the back. While I'm juggling my pentacles over here, my 2 of Pentacles is like, oh my God, it's November already. Yes, I'm going to be sharing about that on the Sharecast for sure, is that I have my early bird special is open for the 2025 year ahead spread, which is a massive 25 card reading for you for your year ahead, all kinds of decks and elements and goodies there. So that is also up and coming. Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, and I just want to tell everyone, because I've been very privileged to be able to experience this 1 year ahead reading and working through it with Marissa throughout this entire year. It is 100% spot on. But not just that, but most people buy these year ahead readings and they are generic. They're either for your sun sign, moon sign, ascendant sign, whatever. This reading is customized to you. She's gonna pull unique card to you personally. It's not gonna be to someone else, So each month of the year, you're gonna get a card that is unique to you. So this is why, I wouldn't be comparing necessarily with, oh yeah, this person has this person has that offer, because this is a personal reading. This is not a generic reading. So yeah, so definitely would recommend for people to treat themselves to this reading, because it's very helpful, very insightful, and very supportive throughout the year, because you can always revisit it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I actually had 2 people, I forgot to tell you this year, have come back from their year ahead readings where births were on the docket. I'm like, I don't know, because I knew I was talking to, let's just say they became grandmothers. I knew I was talking to people that were like, I'm not having a baby. Who's having a baby? And I've had them come back around and say, we had a baby in our family, or something. So it's been really neat to see the full circle from this past year. So I'm looking forward to 2025 coming right up.
And we know water and earth you know what comes out of that. It's a
Matter
fertility.
that we create. Yes.
So here we go. Okay, thank you
Thank you.
everyone for tuning in. This one is a bit longer than usual, but you have plenty to digest for the entire month. And you can catch us on IG Live. We will be advertising that prior to the date. And yeah, thank you, Marisa, for carving the time in your super busy schedule to make
Thank
this
you.
happen. And until next time.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.